Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not, they spin not. And yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. If then God so clothed the grass which is today in the field and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith? And seek not ye what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, neither be ye of doubtful mind.
This is our kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Lord. Praise ye the Lord.
For all these things do the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. But rather seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell that ye have, and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. To the kingdom of Israel!
Yahweh Hashem!
An aristocracy, meaning rule of the best, a class considered superior to others, a government by the best men in the state, a governing body composed of the best men in the state, and that's the elect. We're about to have it all right? Psalms 37 and verse 11, and it reads, "But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace." That word for peace in the Hebrew is shalom, which goes into safety, soundness in body, meaning we're going to truly have rest, welfare, health, prosperity, peace, quiet, tranquility, contentment. So we're going to fully enjoy the planet Earth. We're going to rule and exist within the Lord's creation as we were created to do. I'm ready to rule the world, man. How about you?
Let the golden light of this sunset guide our hearts in peace.
Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell that you have, and give alms. Yours bags, wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
The ocean spirit dances today to abundance and joy and to eternal peace.
See, this is what we're hoping for. This is part of our hope. Not only that we are members of the elect, with fruits meet for repentance, like John the Baptist said, but from our lowest state, because we've been brought low, even though we have this knowledge, we have this truth. Remember what it said in Revelation. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. Why are we rich? Because we're rich in faith. We have this knowledge. So our hope is at our last end, we're going to be increased. Okay? And if you ask me, the greatest riches right now is to be delivered by Yahweh, get that new body that the Apostle Paul spoke about in 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter, to get that, get that new body where we'll never be sick, we'll be immortals, like it said in 1 Corinthians 15, to be delivered from the coming destruction, and to be a part of Yahweh Shai's cabinet in the next kingdom. Okay? Those are the real riches right now. That's what we want to get. Because if you get that, you got everything. I mean, you got everything. Okay? So our sights are set a lot higher than this present world. All right? As it is written, the fashion of this world shall pass away. We are individuals of vision. And the scripture said where an individual lacks vision, he perishes. Okay? So we can see the future. All right? And we hope that we're going to be part of it, beginning with the elect.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Makakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutation to the hopeful they got there pushing this word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful they, the believers, the listeners whom I came back to the obedience of the scripture through faith in Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. And what I want to get into with this lesson, all right, this morning news and prophecy, is he's building out his empire, Esau, Edom. He's building out his enterprise, okay, which is the New World Order. Okay, he's full steam ahead, all right, when it comes to the infrastructure needed for him to switch over to this new system, all right. And as he gets closer and closer, and as he has to roll these things out, all right, and as the scriptures speak about how, the Lord will make this man bear. Esau is becoming bare. The Lord has Esau out in the open, okay, because in order to pull off this transition, well, he has to be more visible with his agenda, okay, because he has to put up actual infrastructure, okay, so the data centers, the surveillance system, okay, the 6G, okay, which all these things have all been signed into legislation as a go. Okay, it's just a thing of getting to a point, all right, where this devil is going to switch over this whole system, man. So he's building this thing out, and it's beautiful because we need Esau to get to a certain point before the Lord comes and destroys this man. Okay, and the scripture always goes into the same narrative about how Esau would build, okay, but the Lord would throw that out. Matter of fact, let's get that in the book of Malachi. All right, let's get a few precepts. Then we got a few videos going into some things about this this infrastructure that the devil is building out. Now, when you go to Malachi 1:4, it says, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Okay, now this is when Esau fell from power, okay, as the Romans, okay, because the peak of Edomite supremacy, okay, until that point was pagan Rome. Okay, that's when Esau had the most influence and the most power as a nation, as the Romans. Okay, that's when he dominated the world, okay, as the Romans. You see, but Rome fell, the Western Roman Empire, Jake, supplanted Esau, and eventually you had the Eastern Roman Empire being ran out of Constantinople, which is modern day Turkey. Or you have the Holy Roman Empire, all right, which that was, Jake was still in a folly, all right, but Jake was running Rome, under this Christianity, this new version of Christianity, You see? But at the end of the day, all right, the point is Rome fell. All right, Edom, Rome fell. All right, and what did the devil do? Okay, what did the Lord allow the devil to do according to prophecy? Okay, because he came into his full blessing as the fatness of the earth during the Renaissance. So they was impoverished. Okay, they said they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness and the people against whom the Lord have in the nation forever. Yeah, so these devils, you go here, you know, they built Rome back in the earth, but the Lord said, well, he's going to throw this down. Okay, he's going to throw down this current, all right, Roman Empire, which is digital now. Okay, which the devil is trying to bring a technological Rome. All right, he's trying to establish a technological Rome forever. Okay, it said we are impoverished. So you go into this term "bill" in the Hebrew. All right, which is banah. All right, banah. Okay, and you just go into some definitions. It says to build, to rebuild, to establish, to cause to continue. Okay, to cause to continue. So the devil is causing to continue. Okay, the pagan Rome. You know, the Greco-Roman era when he was in the peak of his power. Well, he's caused it to continue through the Renaissance. Okay, and now he's trying to establish, okay, Greco-Rome forever through technology. Okay, it says to establish. It says a restore exile. All right, because Esau was like an exile in the earth. You know, when Rome fell, you know, Esau was pushed to the outskirts of civilization. You know, the Caucasus Mountains. Okay, in that region. Okay, deep in the Eastern Europe. Okay, he was on the outskirts of society. Okay, you had Jake ruling. You had Elam. You know, the Parthian Empire. Okay, different Elamite empire that was on the scene. You had Ishmael with the Caliphate, the Islamic empires during that time. Okay, yeah, Moab and Ammon. You know, they had their emperors and they dynasties. Okay, in the Far East. Okay, and Esau was irrelevant, pretty much irrelevant in the earth for 1,000 years, man. He was like an exile. Okay, but then you had the end of that 1,000-year period, which is called what the Renaissance. All right, which is the rebirth, when he was able to what, to reestablish himself, to rebuild. Okay, he was like an exile that was restored. Okay, so he was able to what, to establish and cause to continue. All right, the Greco-Roman era. You know, which that represents Esau in his prime, at his peak. You see, so let's go from there. And now we look at what the devil is doing today. He wants to make this permanent. You know, because even one of the definitions to build, because Esau's vain, all right, ambition is to make his rulership permanent. Because establish, that word banah in the Hebrew also goes into made permanent. And the only kingdom that's going to be made permanent is the kingdom, okay, of Israel under Yahushua. Okay, that's the only kingdom prophesied to be permanent. Now, when you go to Psalms, the 2nd chapter, okay, it speaks about the vain ambition of the heathen. Okay, and who's the leader of the heathen? Who's at the forefront of these heathen? Esau, man. Okay, Psalms 2:1. It says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Okay, so Esau and the rest of these heathens, because they all have New World Order ambition. Okay, these governments of the world, you know, they're all in agreement with the technocracy. Okay, now how this technocracy is ran is where you get discrepancy and who has what authority within the technocracy. This is where you get, okay, these scuffles. Okay, then the energy and the resources needed, you know, to run this new world order is causing, all right, a scuffle amongst these nations, man, which is going to turn to all-out war. You see? So why do the heathen rage and imagine a vain thing, something like a new world order, as if they're going to undermine the Most High with technology, as if the Lord is going to allow them to achieve their enterprise, man. Okay. It said, verse 2, the kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, and against his anointed, saying, so these nations are being charged with conspiring to undermine the Most High. All these nations are guilty, of trying to undermine the Most High and his authority in the earth. Okay, all these nations are guilty of it. You see, that's why all these heathens are going into captivity. Okay, so we know the elites amongst all these nations, okay, they all take counsel about a new world order, about a technocracy, man. You see? And they're all against the true Israelites being suppressed. Okay, they're all about the Yahweh Bashim Al Shai being suppressed in the earth, so they can continue to rule according to their fashion, the fashion of the heathen, headed by Esau, man. It says, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. And you get this in the NLT, verse 3 in the NLT. Okay, I said this new world order is about rebelling from Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. That's why you read in NLT. And this is the talking points of the elites to these other nations, man. Okay, as if they, because Esau loved to push himself as a liberator. Okay, and what he's pushing is that he's liberating, all right, the world from the tyranny of the Most High. Okay, he's saying, look, with this technology, we can go beyond the limitations. Okay, that this tyrant God, okay, has given us. Okay, we can tap into immortality without, okay, being obedient to this tyrannical God. That's the talking point of this devil that he's been pushing to these other nations. And this is part of the wine or the fornication. Okay, this is a major part of that wine that these nations done took down with Esau, following this nigga, man. Okay, is this talking point that they can build, okay, a world outside of the Most High. That they can run existence through technology. They don't need oversight from, all right, a higher power. Okay, they become the higher power. They reach godhood, okay, through technology. This is this devil's talking points to these nations, man. Okay, and these nations are brought in. You see, he said, let us break their chains, they cry, and free ourselves from the slavery of the Most High. Okay, and this is how Esau looks at obedience to righteousness and slavery, because he's the wicked. Okay, so obedience doesn't sit right with him. Obedience is a burden. Righteousness is a burden to Esau. Okay, verse 4 says, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Yeah, now what we're seeing is the Lord beginning to mock this devil, because you look at how tacky this new world order is, man. It's the Most High mocking Esau, man. Okay, this nigga is limited. He's running out of resources. Okay, you got divisions amongst, all right, these elites, these oligarchs. Okay, and we say oligarchs, we're talking about these powerful, wealthy families that run the world, beginning with Amalek. Okay, in other nations, they have oligarchs as well. They have rich, powerful families in the background that we don't see. Okay, that make decisions. Okay, under Esau, man. Okay, that are part of these councils. Okay, but the Lord say he shall laugh. It's a joke, because you got this man is trying to be the Most High, man. Come on, man. Okay, this mere man, limited as hell, and the Lord got Esau looking regular as hell out here trying to do this, man. Because see, he can play a God amongst men, but when he step into this realm to where he's trying to be the Most High, he's looking regular as hell, man. Okay, his technology is limited, his witchcraft is limited, his resources are limited, his wisdom is limited, man. Okay, and the Most High finna make a laughing stock of this guy. Okay, it said the Lord shall have them in derision, then shall he speak to them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. And that's causing this third world war to go nuclear and Yahushua to return. Okay, the Lord gonna stop playing with this nigga Esau, man. Okay, right now Esau, he believes his own hype that he can pull it off. And as we looking at it, man, really looking at this guy, like I say, as the spirit has put us up close on this nigga, man. We see why the Lord say he gonna laugh at this nigga, man. This is laughable what Esau Edom is doing. Okay, this is laughable, man. It's not gonna be like it's not gonna be like he tried to hit a game winner and it barely missed, hit the back of the rim. No, this nigga not even gonna get in the parking lot. Okay, he's not even gonna make it into the parking lot, man. Or trying to be the Most High. You see? So the Lord's allowing this devil to get to a certain point, to where he get this infrastructure to where he wants to switch this thing over. He's going to cause crisis because he wants to depopulate, and when this depopulation agenda gets to a certain point, he's going to present this technology as a salvation, as a pseudo salvation. Okay. And once he makes this thing mandate, hey, the Lord is going to speak to this man in this wrath and vex him in this sore displeasure. Verse 6, it said, yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion, or just Yahushua. Okay. So the Heavenly Father's finna establish Yahushua. And see, this is going to be permanent. All right. This is going to be a permanent banah. The word build in the Hebrew is banah. Okay. One of the definitions is to establish, all right, permanently. Okay. Well, this is what's going to be established permanently, man. What Esau got going, okay, what he's building is going to be thrown down. You see? We should get ready to see the Lord throw all this down. So all this building in vain, all these billions and trillions of dollars he's spending in AI is vain, the data centers, all this in vain. Okay, the 6G, everything is all in vain. Okay, it's all vanity because the Lord, okay, is going to throw it down and establish a righteous kingdom with Yahushua. Okay, and Lord will, we're part of that number. We can be, of those joint heirs. Okay, so let's segue here. So let's get this video, because as we know, this devil is rolling this thing out, because he can't sneak this infrastructure out. So this infrastructure is being rolled out. Okay, you have people, that are beginning to investigate this man. Matter of fact, if a brother can get that 2nd Ezra 6 and 19, Bob Bashar. 2nd Ezra 6 and 19, I want to say, dealing with the Inquisition. Okay. Because now Esau and what he's doing is under a thorough investigation. Okay. So you have his own subjects, beginning to search this man out. So let's play a little bit of this dealing with the flock camera. And then it goes to how Esau is trying to hide it. Okay. But they on his ass, man. You see, so let's play this.
The Discord link in my description below. You should have come to Italy with us.
I was too busy spying on flock safety.
Spying on flock safety. You flipped it around on him?
Oh, yeah. So the mission was this. We met up with this YouTuber named Ben Jordan, who's done some of the best journalism on flock that I've seen so far. And he's a very big tech guy. So he's very sophisticated. He's undoing the camera, showing the vulnerabilities. But anyways, we visited the flock headquarters, and it turns out they had moved. And there's no signage on the building. The initial mission was to go there. We were going to film all of the license plates, which for those not familiar, flock safety is a license plate reader camera system that your city council or your local sheriff votes in. And the argument is, hey, it helps us track violent criminals. And we've seen it in action with the U.S. Marshals, where there's a guy on the run for, a home invasion, and they use it to track him to his house. They move in, they arrest him, guy off the street. So there is positive use applications with flock safety. But it's kind of like data centers where these things are creeping into our cities without us really wanting them there. Like the polls I put on Instagram and YouTube were both at about 90% no, I don't want flock in my city. So the exercise, we were going to film the employee license plates. Then we're going to go to Ben Jordan's house, run it through his algorithm. He made this little software program where we were going to track each license plate. And then it shows all the information that you can get from looking up someone's license plate. And it's a pretty revealing exercise. And so then the second thing we were going to do is put them under surveillance. And so we went to their first headquarters, no signage on the building, completely anonymous. They moved out and we had a little interaction with their security. They called the cops on us. Boom. We found their next location. We went there, also nondescript building, no signage up front. And we were stopped by the doorman on the first floor. And then, yes. And then the last one, we went to their drone headquarters where that's part of what they're going to do is like a first responder. They send out a drone to the scene that's surveilling as soon as something happens, which again, could have positive use applications, no doubt about it. But we go to their drone headquarters and it's a construction company is what the front looks like. And so we look around this entire huge building, nothing says flock. And so what we do, we had an old flock camera that these tech guys got off eBay. We had my camera guys.
Can we pull up what that looks like, Deef?
Yeah, they're building.
Yeah.
It might not even be listed. That's
and the
cameras.
Thing.
And this is part of the point is they're one of the biggest surveillance companies in the country, yet they obviously hold privacy as a really high regard.
Right.
And so a lot of people see cameras like this in their city. So anyways, we started filming their employees and when they would pull up in their car.
So here it is. They work for, one of the biggest so-called security camera companies in the world, but their buildings don't have any signs. They're disguised as, construction buildings. Okay. Why so secretive, man? Okay. Because the flock camera system ain't about catching criminals, man. Okay. It's about a control criminal. Okay. Because if that was the case, all right, the prison should be overloaded with PDF files. Okay, XCX traffickers. Okay. If that was the case, no. This flock, okay, because flock goes into sheep, which they look at people as sheeple, as goyim. Okay, as cattle. Okay, then flock camera is to surveil the flock, man, the sheep. Okay. But this guy here, him and this other guy, Ben Jordan, which I watched a few of his videos. He kind of someone be too goofy to be informative. Like he could be informed, but he kind of goofy. So he too goofy to where it's kind of irritating. But him and this guy, they go in when it goes. They go on deep dive into the investigation journalism. But let's play a little more of this.
And I'd be like, hey, sir, just want to let you know you're under surveillance, but don't worry, it's for your safety. And they were all spooked and they get away. And I was like running with their car with the camera. It might not even be listed. That's
and
the
cameras.
Thing. And this is part of the point is they're one of the biggest surveillance companies in the country, yet they obviously hold privacy as a really high regard.
Right.
And so a lot of people see cameras like this in their city. So anyways, we started filming their employees and when they would pull up in their car, and I'd be like, hey, sir, just want to let you know you're under surveillance, but don't worry, it's for your safety. And they were all spooked and they get away. And I was like running with their car with the camera. And then another employee comes up and I'm like, hey, sir, do you work for Flock? He's like, Flock, never heard of it. What's that? I'm actually for this construction company. I'm like, okay, probably not, but okay. Then the police come in, they box our car in from leaving the parking lot. And even people in that business area that were trying to just go to work, they held them there. And they're like, no, you got to talk with this guy before you leave. And I'm like, so are you detaining me? We have a showdown with the police where they wrongfully are just keeping me there and not answering my questions. Anyways, we talked to the Flock guy and he's like, you know what? I felt very unsafe. I said, sir, did you feel unsafe because we were filming you? And he's like, yes. I'm like,
oh,
like, come on now.
Shoes on the other foot now, huh, partner?
Yes. And I don't know when this episode is coming out, but there's a chance that Flock is going to let us come back to their headquarters and actually talk to them. And I do believe Flock is a yin and yang. I don't want to just portray them as
Yeah, so you should got these Edomites, they're really doing deep dive investigations on this infrastructure that's being rolled out, man. Okay. So the devil, he's not going to be able to sneak it out. Okay, that's why he's going to have to create a major crisis, poly crisis, multiple crises. okay, to create a major distraction, as he's finished setting up this infrastructure, man. Okay, he's gonna have to create major crisis, man, to get people distracted, to get people off his trail. Okay, now let's go from there. I got another one, because then you gotta deal with the real cost of AI. Because people look at AI like it's some type of magic, but it's a real cost. It absorbs real, resources, man. Okay. Now let's go here. Let's get a couple more. Let's get some of the precepts first. So let's it's the brother Yashima. No, this brother you call Hopeful 144. This second Esdras 6 and 19. It says, and will begin to make inquisition of them what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled. So yeah, and this is also a token that we're coming to the end of our captivity by the Lord allowing, the devil to be under great persecution and inquisition. The Lord is holding Esau, all right, to the fire, man. You see, they say putting his feet to the fire. All right, and there's a thorough investigation. You have the prophets. Okay, you have these freelance, investigative journalists like this guy. Okay, crazy Edomites. Okay, them in that Jackass spirit. I don't know if y'all remember that show, Jackass on MTV. Them crazy Edomites in that spirit. Then you got certain insiders that used to work for certain tech companies and certain corporations, and they come out and tell everything that they've seen on the inside. So the devil is catching it from all sides. Okay, and it's to the point to where he's just gonna have to do something major. Okay, because he's not gonna be able to sneak this thing out. Okay, the Lord is putting him in a position where he's gonna have to do something major, which is going to fulfill more prophecy. Okay, he's gonna have to create famine, scarcity, violence, pestilence. He's gonna have to release something real, that's gonna catch bodies. He's gonna have to do something, man. You gotta do all the above, man. Okay, because it's not in his favor anymore. Things are beginning to work against this devil, man. So this is Psalm 64 and 8. It says, so they shall make their own. This is brother you call one. Hopeful 144. Psalm 64 and 8 says, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves, and all that see them shall flee away. Yeah, because now, there's a whole community of resistance against what this devil has going on. All right. And all this, the scripture say, information shall run to and fro. Okay. If a brother can post there, I think that's in the book of Daniel, 12th chapter. Information shall run, okay, to and fro. Okay, so let's go here. Let's play a little bit of this. And this goes into the real cost of AI. Because like I say, so people, and this devil, he needs people to believe the hype. To buy in to this new system. Okay, so he needs people to believe that this AI is this unlimited, all-powerful creation that they've created with their high IQ. Okay, so let's play this.
We tend to think of artificial intelligence as magic. You type a prompt and an answer appears instantly. It feels completely weightless, like a piece of software that can scale infinitely without any friction from the real world. Investors have heavily rewarded that perception. Right now, the market is granting AI-enabled startups a massive 22.3% valuation premium over traditional software companies. Comparing unit economics reveals a glaring flaw. Traditional software companies boast 85% gross margins, while top AI startups operate at a dismal 25%. Normally, a business model delivering a fraction of the profitability doesn't receive a massive valuation premium. This valuation premium relies on a massive hidden supply chain, a physical infrastructure that is already beginning to bleed the industry dry. The true cost of AI is buried deep in the hardware engine room. It costs roughly $100 million. To train a model like GPT-4, that grabs headlines, but training is actually the cheapest part of an AI model's lifecycle. The true cost ceiling is something called inference. Inference is the continuous computational effort required to generate a response every single time a user types a prompt. Keeping a large language model online to handle those daily user requests costs an estimated $250 million every single year. Traditional apps get cheaper to operate the more people use them. AI works in reverse. Every single query costs real computing power, meaning marginal costs scale aggressively right alongside user growth, permanently holding gross margins down. Handling all that inference requires hyperscale data centers, massive resource-hungry fortresses. A single modern AI facility can draw as much electricity as 100,000 homes. To meet that staggering demand, the electrical grid has to lean heavily on industrial-scale fossil fuel plants. All that electricity generates an enormous amount of heat. To keep these overclocked server stacks from melting down, operators rely on evaporative cooling, a cheap method that deliberately evaporates fresh water to pull heat out of the air. It takes roughly one standard bottle of fresh water to physically cool the servers for a single 20-query AI chat session. Multiplied by millions of users, this relentless evaporative cooling is actively draining local water basins and putting severe strain on regional infrastructure. And inside those facilities, the hardware itself rests on a highly fragile geopolitical supply chain. It depends entirely on specialized microchips manufactured by TSMC in Taiwan and lithography machines from ASML in the Netherlands.
And you see why, there's this big fuss about Taiwan. Okay. America don't give a damn about, all right, Taiwanese people. Okay, which I believe those are Moabites. Okay, all right. He doesn't give a damn about Taiwan people. Okay. Well, the reason why he has these deals, so-called, to protect Taiwan, which if he can't protect them GCC nations, okay, if a damn show can't protect, all right, Taiwan from China. Okay. But you see why you used to hear about Taiwan in the news, because of these chips that they produce. Okay, they control the computing. Okay, for these data centers, man.
Artificial intelligence is directly shackled to a finite, rapidly depleting supply of real-world land, water, and power. Beyond the physical constraints, there is a global shortage of specialized AI automation engineers. This talent crisis alone could cost the global economy $5.5 trillion in unrealized revenue. Competition for this specific skill set is so intense that average salaries for these engineers jumped from $155,000 to over $206,000 in a single year. This isolated talent war is bleeding into the broader tech economy through an economic principle known as the Baumol effect. The Baumol effect occurs when traditional jobs must artificially raise wages to compete for workers against lucrative sectors like AI. The hiring market is now so broken that desperate CEOs are abandoning recruiting, instead acquiring entire startups solely to capture their engineering teams. Talent acquisition has morphed into a massive economy-wide cost disease. It adds a thick layer of operational overhead that eats away at whatever profitability remains. AI actually operates as a heavy industrial-scale utility, far removed from the weightless software it appears to be. Investors demand discipline. In 12 months, AI valuation premiums collapsed from 74 to 30%. Exits are concentrated in outliers like Klarna, while most startups flatline. Failing financial scrutiny, these companies trade at massive secondary market discounts. The technology is powerful, but until the industry figures out how to pay for inference, secure physical resources, and solve the talent shortage, its valuation is on a collision course with a very finite physical wall.
A finite. They got limitations. Okay, we're seeing Esau hit them bounds, man. Okay, he's at the end of his kingdom and he's hitting these bounds. He's dealing with how finite he is, regular as hell. He had to deal with the fact that he regular as hell, man. All right, and he don't believe all this hype, and you know, he's been able to go and tap into witchcraft, and you know, he has technology that no heathen has ever had. Okay, and he looked at himself as a god. He looked at himself as being unlimited. Okay, but the Lord is embarrassing this nigga with limitations, man. Okay, and these resources, and it goes part into these scuffles that these nations are having, is based in resources, man, because there's only so many resources. He can print all this money, but he can't print resources. Okay, it takes actual resources to run this AI. Okay, it's not no magic that just has this unlimited, okay, power. No, it takes actual resources to power the AI, to get AI to work. Okay, so it's just a high-tech idol. Okay, it's just a high-tech idol, man. All right, that uses all these resources. You see, so let's go from there. I think I had. And now you got Esau. Okay, he's trying to romanticize. And just look how tacky Esau looking with these data centers, man. Okay, because as people have been showing up to these town halls and going crazy. All right, now you got the devil. Okay, because the information is scripture say. Let's get this real quick. This from the brother Anah, Daniel 12:4. It said, "But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased." Okay, and knowledge shall be increased. So this is what we're seeing: information running to and fro. Okay, news travels fast, faster than it ever has. Now on the flip side, misinformation and disinformation travels fast, but the truth is traveling fast too. Okay, and it's making it hard for the devil, all right, to go forward unhindered. That's why he's gonna have to just go. He's gonna have to use force. Okay, he's gonna have to cause real chaos. He's gonna have to stop pity patting and dragging his feet, and come on with the come on. Okay, because information is moving fast. Okay, and now you know you have a large part of the American population that know how destructive these data centers is. Okay, so we're gonna play this, you know, and this devil, he just put this random Edomite out there, okay, to try to clean up, okay, the truth about these data centers. So let's play this.
If you watch a movie, send an email, or put your photos in the cloud, as most of us do, there is a data center involved.
And the rise of AI means there's more need for data storage. That means more power and more water. So more Massachusetts communities are saying they don't want them. For tonight's Question Everything, I get a rare tour inside of a data center in Lowell and ask, do we really need to worry about the future? This is a bird's eye view of the largest data center in Massachusetts, the Markley Data Center in Lowell. It's a mammoth digital warehouse storing everything from your text messages to your medical files. It was once a Prince spaghetti factory. And the thing is, people love pasta. Data centers, not so much. So that building was always there, but it was not that color. Nick Fortes might be its biggest critic. This blue house is his childhood home, and he doesn't just call Markley a bad neighbor. He's got another name.
It's nicknamed by a lot of residents in the neighborhood the Dungeon, because it seriously is just this black building that looms over us.
The building has 27 emergency generators with smokestacks. Jake claims they send fumes toward his home, and he says the rows of air conditioning units on the roof are always humming.
You'll hear the AC units. That's a constant.
From Lowell to Los Angeles, there are coast-to-coast concerns about what these data centers can do to the environment. from the massive amount of energy they use to the incredible amount of water they need to keep all of the equipment cool. But the owners of this data center say it is not a drain on resources. So all of this is basically air conditioning. I asked Markley for a tour of that data center, which they never do. It's to keep things from overheating? Correct. That's Adam Burnham. He's the corporate vice president for Markley and our tour guide. There are long, stark white hallways, rooms full of machines taking in, transforming, and distributing huge amounts of power throughout the building. How much?
And this is the infrastructure behind, all right? You asking ChatGPT a question, all right, and you're getting the answer. Okay, this is the infrastructure that it takes to do that. Okay, to use create a picture, to create a video. Okay, this is all this infrastructure that it takes to pull it off. Okay, and people have this mind because they just got this handheld device and they ask the question, and a few seconds later you get these answers, and it's like magic. Nah, it's infrastructure behind it. It's a lot of infrastructure it takes to do that. Okay, resources, and then you multiply that by millions, okay, and globally billions of people using it. Okay, it's a drain. Okay, and ultimately he's allowing people free access to the with the AI, because it trains. The AI needs constant training. Okay, picking up patterns and algorithms, and so he's letting it be open to the public for the sake of training. Is listening to everything, because it's going to know, because they need AI to be a governor, the police, okay, the judge, okay, like on their movie, I think it's Mercy, okay, but there's gonna come a time when you're not gonna have access to AI for recreational use. It's just going to be used to control, all right, this surveillance state, social system, the social credit system, okay, to program your digital money. Okay, that's what it's going to be used for. Okay, but let's play a little more of this.
Electricity? Well, Markley doesn't say. Most data centers don't. But its Boston location boasts up to 30 megawatts of power, which is comparable to what tens of thousands of homes could use at any given time. How many servers do you have here in this building?
There must be thousands from hundreds of different customers.
And how much data is stored here?
It would be hard to even quantify it. It's to use technical terms, it would be petabytes. Whatever's bigger than
what
a petabyte.
Kind of bytes?
Petabytes would be a big number.
Okay, many petabytes.
Many petabytes from many customers.
So how much data are we talking? Well, just 1 petabyte is equal to roughly 250 million photos, or the storage capacity of 250,000 smartphones, or 13 years worth of continuous high-definition movies. We can't bring the cameras in this room, but what kind of things are we going to see?
So you're going to see in here servers, routers, switches, equipment from all different types of companies, financial companies, life science companies. You're going to see universities.
So what was inside? Well, this is what a rack of servers looks like at WBZ. Picture thousands of them. To keep them cool, some data centers use up to 5 million gallons of water every single day. Here? So are you using millions of gallons of water here?
It's possible. I don't know the numbers.
Okay. So you might, on a daily basis, use millions of gallons of water?
Yeah. I'd have to get the numbers for you to look.
Another criticism of data centers is that once construction is done, they don't create a lot of jobs. Well, Markley actually brought a representative for the Electrical Workers Union, IBEW, to our shoot. Lou Antonellis would answer questions about job creation. And how many employees do you have working here?
Right now, it's a little bit of a slow period, probably about a dozen.
That's it.
Yeah, right.
Antonellis said he really wants Markley to expand, to create construction jobs. And they are buying up.
He said a dozen. Okay. 30, $10 billion, $30 billion data centers that only create 12 jobs and cause all their goddamn destruction and use all those resources, and they create 12 jobs. And my boy says it's a little slow, about 12 jobs. Like, nigga, that's terrible. Okay?
Nearby homes and land, including this old power plant up the road. But Lowell just recently voted for a 1-year moratorium on data centers, building expansion. Back to the emergency generators that neighbors like Jake had complained about.
So we're going to stop for a second and listen. You're saying this is as loud as it gets.
So it's not under complete load, but this is the typical noise you're going to get. So
They weren't under full load, he said. So what were they at? 20%, 50%, 80%? They said they couldn't tell me.
But you think it's not making the noise that the neighbor is complaining about?
Correct.
You think he's exaggerating?
I think they're exaggerating, yes.
That nigga say y'all lying. Okay? Y'all niggas lying. Them data centers ain't that loud, man. Okay? But they've done all type of stress tests, you know, because there's even noise. We're dealing with that noise pollution. All right, there's noise that you they can you know, they can make you sick that you don't even hear. You know, I believe it's termed white noise. All right. Let's see what is noise pollution. So yeah, they got this guy, you know, because they gotta try to combat all this information is coming out, you know. So now they gotta get on these major news sites and like, look, it's not as bad. People exaggerating. Okay, this is loud as it gets. You know, we use a lot of water, but we don't know exactly how much water we know. Yeah, man, devil looking tacky out here, man. So let's go into this noise pollution real quick. So you go into what is noise pollution. All right, because the earth is supposed to have a natural sound, man. Like, you know, I'm able to get up in the morning, you know, and go out and just listen to the birds, you know, certain animals, the wind, you know, and it's therapeutic. You see, there's a certain natural sound that the earth has had, man. Like, the Lord just got everything figured out, you know, when you get into nature. It says on noise pollution, also known as environmental noise or sound pollution, is the presence of excessive, unwanted, or disturbing sound that disrupt the natural balance and adversely affect the health and well-being of humans and wildlife, man. You know, because even like going in the city, like the city has all these sounds that are not natural, man. You know, and that's why you go into the city, you see the mood just completely different. People are more frantic, people are more aggressive. Okay, people are more depressed, anxious, violent. You know, those sounds make a difference, man. You know, and that hustle and bustle and that sound of the city, you know, it's like the soundtrack of chaos because it's unnatural. You know, it's a lot of unnatural sounds, man, and smells. It says sound is measured in decibels. The World Health Organization classified noise above 65 decibels as pollution. Exposure to sound over 75 decibels can be harmful. Anything surpassing 120 decibels can cause pain. Okay. Now, yep, and you go into it. Road traffic, railway lines, aircraft, jackhammers, heavy machinery, project buildings, and that's what it takes to build. And then once they get up and running, them goddamn generators, okay, and them turbines that it takes to power it, okay, and then the process it takes to cool it, it's a constant noise, man. Okay. You know, so just looking into that, but let's go back, play a little bit more of this video.
The neighbors feel very strongly about it. You heard the vice president there of the company saying that he didn't know if they used millions of gallons every single day, because a lot of data centers actually do. They told me they would get the numbers. That was last Thursday. I got the numbers late this afternoon. They said on average over the past year, the building used between 70,000 gallons per day to 120,000 gallons of water per day. They also said that there is plenty of water available in Lowell, which gets its water from the Merrimack River. I've seen some of the water bills sort of behind the scenes, and I can say the numbers do match up at this point.
So they did get back to you.
Yeah.
This is a conversation that's playing out all over the country. I just read today that 40% of homes in the United States are within 5 miles of a data center. So these questions, conversations about noise and whether that noise exists and water use, those are taking place, as you mentioned, everywhere.
One more interesting fact. Gallup did a poll. They found that 71% of people did not want to live near a data center. Only 53% didn't want to live near a nuclear power plant. So it goes to show you how people are feeling about these things.
Question.
God dang. Yeah, man, it's a major pushback against what the devil. Hey, Con, that's heavy, bro. Yep. Well, y'all on the scene. Brother Young Yashala said they teach out there. Well, yeah, y'all on the scene, brother. Y'all teach out there with the dungeon. My boy said it ain't that loud. Nigga lying. Yeah, but they say y'all lying about that data center, man. Sound like a little house fan. I think I got was that the last one? Oh yeah, I'm gonna get this one too, because there's another thing that's on the increase with this AI. To get a couple more precepts. Let me play this video. So you go here, see what brothers got. Yeah, this is the brother servants of Yahushua, 144, Job 14:5. It says, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Okay, so we're seeing the devil run into these bounds. Okay, he's limited. Like I said, he's limited with resources. And another thing, he's limited in time. This nigga don't got forever to play around. Nigga, he got to come on with the come on. He don't have time. He don't have all this disposable time. Okay, there was a time when time was on his side, but now time is against this nigga, man. Okay, so he don't have all this time to play around, all right, and try to finesse this new world order. No, he gonna have to come on, all right. He just gonna have to get politically incorrect and come on and get draconian, man. Okay, and it says Psalms 121:1 says a song of degrees for Solomon, except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that built it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain. Yeah, so everything that this devil is doing is in vain. Okay, all the technology he's trying to come up with to cool the data centers and use less electricity and try to use solar and try to use clean energy, all of it is vain. Okay, all this strategy, all this trying to, is vain. Okay, because the Lord's finna throw down. They shall build, but I will throw down. Okay, 2 Peter 3:10 and 11, Bible Kashah. The brother want to post it. You see? So everything that this devil doing is all in vain, is empty. Okay, America gonna be a desert. The home of the most data centers is gonna be a complete desert. Okay. The Lord finna destroy this new world infrastructure, man. This war is gonna destroy a lot of this new world order infrastructure, man. Okay, none of this gonna be up in our kingdom, man. It ain't gonna be one data center. Like I say, we're gonna be the data center. We're gonna be gods. Okay, we ain't gonna need a goddamn 10-mile long data center to keep up with the information. Nah, man. We're gonna have those new bodies, man. Okay, it's gonna be on the level. We ain't gonna need all that to run the earth. We don't have to. We're not gonna have to destroy the earth to run the earth, man. Okay, how dumb is that? Is you destroying the earth to try to run it? Okay, Psalms 127:2 says, "It is vain for you to rise up early and to sit up late and to eat the bread of sorrows." Yeah, so Esau, he's all in into this vain agenda, man. You know, you best believe he's losing sleep. He's up late, constant counsels, trying to figure this out, figure that out. Okay, trying to pull this off. You see? So the Lord, I say the Lord is embarrassing Esau, man. Got this man looking bad and tacky out here, man. Okay. It said, "For so he giveth his beloved sleep." See, we should sleep great because everything working in our favor. You know, we serve Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua in righteousness, man. We know he got it figured out. Esau don't got a goddamn thing figured out. Okay. He got these few little moves that he's gonna make, and it's gonna look terrible when he make these moves, man. Okay, see, we can go to sleep knowing that he is Yahushua. He's coming back to deliver. We can go to sleep on that. We ain't gotta try to figure out, you know, the megawatts and gigawatts and 6G and try to, you know, fool this people to try to get them to believe this. And okay, we need to pull off a crisis, but then we still need to try to preserve this. And okay, we need to go to war, but we don't need to go to war. You know, all this crazy shit this man got going on all over the place, man. Okay, vain and is stupid. You see, but we can go to sleep knowing that he is, man. All right, knowing that all these things were set up before the foundation of the world and is playing out exactly how the Lord wanted to play out. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, let's go here. This the brother Jib at DC Tazadak die Yara. 2nd Ezra 6:7. Then answered I and said, "What shall be the part in the son of the time, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth?" Okay. So the part in the son of the times is going to be this war. Okay, because this war is going to separate the kingdom of Esau from the kingdom of Jacob. Okay, and it's Yahushua who's going to intervene in this third world war. It's going to establish the kingdom of Jacob and finalize the kingdom of Esau, man. And see, we just going to get to be in the kingdom, man. Okay, because Esau got so much wickedness and treachery and, double dealing, triple dealing, all this. You got the spies to look at the spies to spy on these other families, and, you know, the little cliques of families. So it's all just it's a big shit show, man. Okay, and the Lord has kept this place propped up for the sake of prophecy, man. Now we're in a time where the Lord's finna cut asunder the times, man. Okay, verse 8, it says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac and from Jacob unto Esau were born of him. Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. Yeah, so it's a hand on Esau's heel, and the heel represents the end anyway. Okay, so we at the heel of this nigga's empire. We at the 10 toes of the statue, man. Where that's when Yahushua comes and break up the statue, man. Okay, and establishes an everlasting kingdom of righteousness, man. You see? So 2nd Ezra 6:9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, man. Okay, so the world is going into a new age. Okay, now you got this here going on as well. All right. So let's play this.
Here's how I used ChatGPT to make 6 figures last year.
I'm an ex-police officer and I need you to watch this before this scam hits someone in your family.
My Instagram account was hacked, has all my memories, all my work.
Sprout AI app does not work. Have you ever seen people promoting the app where people can swipe left and right to mass apply jobs. I've tried it for 2 weeks. I got nothing. I paid $60 out of my pocket. That does not work, okay?
Roughly 56% of Americans encounter a scam every single month. Last year, over $2 billion was lost to social media scams alone.
She said it sounded and looked just like her daughter, down to the voice, the face, everything.
I just had something so scary just happened to me.
This is Erica Anderson, a Jacksonville mom, posting about a scary moment on TikTok. A FaceTime call who she thought was her 17-year-old daughter.
From here to here, because I could see the school shirt. I could see the shirt, but no background. They had it that close. When I tell you, it sounds just like her.
Erica was suspicious, so she started asking questions. What did they have for dinner last night? How many siblings do you have?
I started asking her all the questions that she would know the answer to. And the person was like, oh my God, mommy, I don't know the answer. I don't know. Just open the door. Oh my God.
Erica hung up and no one was at their door. She called the school. Her daughter was in class, safe.
Scammers have always been crafty, but now they're taking it to the next level thanks to generative AI. And the sad part is, this is kind of legal because who is doing anything about it? Looking at the comments, I'm starting to think AI is a psychological weapon. I feel like we are underreacting. WTF is this? Honestly, I feel like we underreact to a lot of things. Someone else said, I'm so afraid for the elderly. I see this comment a lot, but it makes the assumption that young people can't be scammed, when in reality, people overestimate how well they can spot a scam. Confidence in spotting scams remains high. 69% believed they could spot a scam, yet 43% of those individuals also fell victim to scams. There are entire websites that allow anyone to upload someone's social media post and generate AI audio in their voice. That's how these scammers reproduce your loved one's voice.
I've had my voice stolen with AI and it's being used to scam hundreds of people. Late last year, I found out that my voice had been cloned with AI and used to promote products and scams online, mostly through TikTok Shop. Let me tell you a secret. Almost every guy wants this. A way to level up like you've unlocked a cheat code. Get stronger, last longer, and go as long as you want. By day 7, you'll notice stronger morning wood and faster response. Since then, it hasn't slowed down, but it's actually escalated to the point where I'm getting tagged, messaged, and emailed almost daily with new examples. So I decided it was time to look into the source of this more thoroughly, and what I've now discovered is that my voice is now sitting in a public library on a voice cloning website, uploaded by someone else, claimed as theirs, and monetized. In fact, because of how the website's model works, every time someone downloads and uses my voice, that person gets paid.
This person is a content creator, but this can happen to anyone because websites like 11 Labs allows you to clone voices with their instant cloning feature. Look at how insane this is. In their terms of service, it says, generate output in the form of synthetic audio sounding like your voice or a voice you are authorized to share with us. Okay, so does 11 Labs actually check that the person uploading a voice is authorized to do so? Well, no. 11 Labs places all that responsibility on the uploader, saying you, the user, will not violate any rights of any person or entity. They go on to say, we expressly disclaim any duty or obligation to undertake any monitoring or review of any content. So this is just one website that scammers are using to clone voices, and they're not incentivized to stop this. In fact, they just raised money at an $11 billion valuation. But it's not just voices that they're cloning.
So I just got blocked by an ex-client for commenting, yo, that AI model actually goes kind of hard. Hi, my name's Elijah, and for those that don't know me, I'm a model in New Zealand, from New Zealand, and this all started when I was scrolling past an ad and I noticed an image that looked very similar to me. But as I zoomed in, it wasn't me. And then I thought it was my brother, because my brother also has modeled for this client. But then it was neither of us. It was almost like both of us combined. And that's when I realized it was AI. Now, although I wasn't 100% on this, I started bumping into like other models, photographers, etc. And they were talking about how this brand are using AI and how it was actually affecting them.
They weren't lying when they said we would own nothing. There's no law stopping companies from using your voice or your face, so they're doing it for profit. Looking at the comments, sick of AI, we don't want it. Using AI for advertisement is fake advertising. But what if you're not the model having your likeness stolen? Maybe you're the employee being told to generate images of products and models using AI rather than hiring a photographer.
I just got fired because I wouldn't use AI. Basically, like they were using AI to generate a lot of photos because they didn't want to pay models and pay to have photos taken of the products. So they were basically making AI generated images of like the products on models and stuff. I put in all this work to create these designs for Baby Phat, and I did not like the way that we were using it. I created this underwear. It's supposed to be it's a low-rise panty, first of all, and like this is nothing like the fit of the actual garment. Here you can see it's high-rise. It's completely different fabrication. Like there's no seams on it, and the charm that I designed that has like the BP logo is completely just like added on. Like it doesn't look like that at all. It doesn't fit at all on the AI girl like it does on a real person, because it's not on a real person. Like it does not fit like that at all. And I said like we're misrepresenting the products to the customers and stuff, and like I'm really proud of this work. I want this work to be like properly marketed.
This clip was originally
Yeah, man, it just shows, all right, that the devil, with this AI, people, because this is a scam society, so now AI has been used to do a lot of scamming. Companies are using it to scam and cut costs with, marketing. Okay, so it's fake products on fake people, created images. It's all over the place, man. People are being, getting these ransom calls as if, their loved one is, being held ransom, and it's their loved one voice, so you can script people's voices. And we know, the devil is going to use this against the prophets, have our voices, saying and doing particular things and, on certain scenes. And we know it's coming soon, and then also with this AI, all right, with all this, chaos with it, which it be justified if he comes in and regulate, okay? Because he allows things to get chaotic, because he has an agenda to come and regulate everything, okay? He has a solution to the scamming that's being done with AI, people stealing voices on AI. He has a solution for that, and it's all going to be in their microchip, man. Okay, so you got that going on as well, so be mindful of that, on this internet, certain phone calls, man, is, AI, people are using AI to do a lot of scamming, the last few years. So, yeah, I think that's the last one. So we'll get a few more precepts. This is the brother Yashima, tribe of Judah. 2 Peter 3:10, it says, "But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat." Okay, so it all leading to the Lord turning America to a desert. Okay, waging war against the heathens. Okay, and conquering the heathens, man, destroying the militaries of the heathen and setting no righteousness, man. Okay, but all these things going back to his vein, everything that the devil got going on, all right, because it's all going to be burnt with fervent heat. Okay, nuclear destruction, okay, is going to dismantle everything that the devil is trying to set up, all right. And just to continue on, this is brother servant, so Yahushua, the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. And what are the works, man? This AI, this technocracy, okay, feminism, Western culture, all this will be burnt up. Christianity, Islam, okay, hot girl, young nigga, all this finna be burnt up, man. Okay, because it's not going to only destroy the infrastructure, it's going to destroy the culture that America has established in the world, man. Okay, and America has established a wicked anti-Messiah culture, man. Okay, but this destruction is going to burn up all the works of Esau, man. Everything that this man has established from the Renaissance until now. Okay, from the infrastructure to the culture. You see, it all ends with the downfall of Esau, man. You see, verse 11, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of person ought ye to be in holy conversation and godliness, man? Okay, so what manner of person are we to be, as we know that this place is just walking into a destruction? Okay, there's no way that we should be caught up in anything or entangled in anything that don't pertain to salvation, man. Okay, everything that don't pertain to salvation is just something to get us by, man, as we await, okay, for these prophecies, man. Okay, but being entangled and taking something too serious or getting caught up in, nah, man. Okay, we tapped in, man. Our power is at work, man. We're watching. We got front row seats to watch our power at work, man. You know, and we're gonna tap into that. You see, verse 12 it says, looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, man. So this is what everything leads to. Okay, the Lord judging Esau, the Lord judging America, the Lord getting 2/3 out of here. Okay, this is what everything is leading to, man. Okay, so with that, you know, we pray that you brothers, all right, and you few sisters edified once again. We're gonna give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem Rakakwadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful Shalom.